What is up, everybody, and welcome to episode 1, Tyler, of the Dugout Dispatch podcast. You know, Tyler and I was texting a couple days ago, and we text a lot, obviously, during baseball season.
Yep.
Like, I'm in a couple different group texts. The main group text that I'm in with the guys in our band, Blackstone Cherry, and some of the crew guys. We call it the Baseball Boys, and some of us in the band and crew that keep up with baseball. So we're watching games, texting each other. I'm texting you. And then a couple of nights ago, I remember texting you, and I was like, shoot, dude, let's just start a podcast. Just a vent, get all this out. So Happy to be here. Tyler Edmonds, everybody, over here to my right, left. There we go. I'll get it right in a minute.
I don't know which way is up, man.
Right, me neither. And real quick, Tyler is also one of the co-hosts on Cubs on Tap. So make sure you guys tune in, check that out for all you Cubs fans like us. If you can't tell, I promise this is not a Cubs podcast, even though I got Cubs stuff everywhere. Tyler's got Cubs stuff everywhere. And I promise that we didn't text each other before the episode saying, hey, man, let's coordinate what we're going to wear so we can.
Yeah, I just noticed that. Well, we had like, oh, and I've got that same shirt in my closet too.
Really, I love it.
Yeah,
I think this is my first piece of baseballism gear that I got was this T-shirt.
Yeah, mine.
And then
mine too.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
and then I was at we were on tour last summer with Clutch and Rival Sons, and it was one of those tours where it just lucked out, where we had some days off in like some big cities, and one day off that we had in Atlanta, me and our guitar tech June, we went to a Braves game at Truist Park. I've never been to Truist Park before. I always wanted to go, and went to the baseballism store, and they had a gray shirt with a guy's arm holding Cubs helmet or hat, I think.
Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
And I was just like talking to the guy at the cash register, told him I was a big Cubs fan, and I think he gave me that shirt for free that day. I'm pretty sure.
Heck yeah, man.
So I was like, heck yeah, man, can't beat that. They had like 3 in there. I don't know how many people's buying Cub shirts at Truist Park, but I'll take it.
Lucky you. Yeah, exactly. Lucky you, man. But yeah, dude, it's great to be on here. It's great to episode 1, man. Episode 1. I'm excited. And like you said, yeah, I do Cubs on Tap, but that's all Cubs. And there's other stuff. I mean, obviously there's other stuff right now to talk about other than the Cubs, because
right,
our season's over. But whatever, we won't even get into that. But
dang it,
yeah, like you said, dude, us texting back and forth, especially during these games, it's almost like even not even the Cubs games, even like the other night I was watching that Mariners game, me and you texting back and forth, and it's just like I get nervous watching that, even though I'm not even a fan of either the Blue Jays or the Mariners, and I'm getting nervous. It's one of those things we're just texting back and forth, but in a way we're both like, somebody hold my hand. I need someone to hold my hand right now.
Right,
that type of thing, because it is, man. It's stressful, but. And what's crazy is what better time to start this podcast than, right smack at in the middle of fall, just before the freaking World Series, man.
Absolutely. Tomorrow, we're recording October 23rd right now on Thursday. So World Series starts tomorrow, the 24th at 7 p.m. Got to tune in for that. It's going to be a good one. But October baseball, it just hits different, doesn't it? It doesn't matter if it's your team or whatever team that you're watching. And, it's just been great so far. And real quick, I just thought of this. Again, Tyler's on Cubs on Tap. Make sure you check it out. I'm also still on the Water Boys College Football Show with my boys Strez and Aaron. Make sure you guys tune in for that. We'll be recording this weekend. Got a pregame show coming up this weekend. But talking about October baseball, we'll just go ahead and get into it. Let's get into the NLCS and ALCS. There's a video that I recorded earlier that I'm going to post on our socials for Dugout Dispatch in a couple of days, maybe Saturday. But basically I said, hot take, if Kyle Tucker with the Chicago Cubs had been playing the last stretch of the season and in the postseason like he was at the first half of the season, the Chicago Cubs would have definitely been in the NLCS against the Dodgers. I think they could at least win a game, maybe,
I think they
maybe,
could have too.
maybe a
Yeah.
couple more. But I mean, so watching the Brewers, as much as I hate to say it, again in the NLDS against the Cubs, I mean, do some crazy, well, not really crazy things, but play their brand of baseball that they've been known to play, and to put small ball like that on the big stage in the playoffs. I think small ball can only take you so far.
Mm-hmm.
But when you play a juggernaut team like the Dodgers, it's very important that you have a superstar or two, I think, in the middle of that lineup that can go yard and get some runs in, because it doesn't matter who it is or who they're playing at what point of the season, in my opinion, the Dodgers can always find a way. I mean, they just have so much talent, they have so much depth, but I just couldn't believe the Brewers didn't even win one game against the Dodgers. And I think they played, what, 6 series total in the regular season against the Dodgers. And I'm pretty sure they won all 6.
And they were 6-0 against the Dodgers. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
I
So,
mean,
I didn't expect them to, just get swept. Did you?
I mean, after that first game, dude, okay, so their brand of baseball up until that point, they put the ball in play. They'll get the home run here and there, but they're
Yeah.
just that it's a I hate to say scrappy, but they put the ball in play, they work counts, they do all that. And it's like in that series, it all went away. It was just completely gone.
Yeah.
And I get it, you have guys like Blake Snell, you're going up against guys like Yamamoto, which both of those guys pitched probably their best games. Definitely Yamamoto for sure. And Blake Snell, that was probably his best game of his career so far. Because as we remember back, what was it in 2020 with the Rays? If this is 2020 with the Rays, he's not in it probably till after the 5th or 6th inning. He's already gone. He's getting pulled. But
Yeah.
I mean, yes, it took the Dodge. It took Blake Snell pitching again his best game of his career. Yamamoto doing
Lights
their thing.
out.
But that pitching staff they shut down that Brewers offense so fast. Yeah, Churio hit a home run. I believe it was in, I want to say game 2, or maybe it was game 1. No, yeah, it was game 2 because Snell had the shutout. But that second game, you thought for a second, hey, here's Churio hitting that home run, and they're going to stay in it. And the Dodgers just turned around and punched them right back in the mouth. And it's like after the first game, I get it. You have Blake Snell throwing a gem. And then that
A healthy
second
Blake
game,
Snell and a well-rested Blake
yeah,
Snell, too.
exactly. And that second game, yeah, you've got Yamamoto, the most expensive pitcher in baseball right now. But coming into that game, I thought, maybe Yamamoto gets hit up here a little bit, and the
Yeah.
Brewers kind of punch, especially being at home in Milwaukee, which is a tough place to play. And LA just said,
Nope.
no, dude, no, this is our house. And that's even after that crazy it should have almost a grand slam that turns into a double play. That was probably the most Brewers play in the history of Brewers plays.
Oh, yeah, that was insane.
And I even thought after that play, I'm just sitting there watching the game like, the Brewers are going to come back. They're going to win this game. They're going to win this game after that play. And the Dodgers did a good job of just shutting that down, keeping themselves composed. And I mean, it was an easy series for him. It was a very easy series for him that I was shocked. I was really surprised that the Brewers didn't put up a bigger fight than what I thought they would.
Right. And I don't think anybody has maybe ever seen a play like that in baseball. Because, Sal Frelick had it for a second, right? Or, it hit the wall and then, bounced in his glove. And then there was a whole confusion around third. And
I thought he caught it. I thought it bounced off his glove and he caught it. And I thought that was it. And I was like, oh, of course that would happen.
Yeah.
But what the most impressive thing about it, the fact that he didn't catch it, the fact that it bounced off the wall, he was able to turn it into a double play.
Right.
I mean, had he caught it, and that was it, I think a run scores. Had that had that play been called a catch, I mean, obviously it wasn't because it bounced off the wall, but had he caught that ball, a run probably scores in that situation.
Right. And I thought Roki Sasaki was going to
Yeah.
give the Brewers a couple there.
But
Um,
I think Sasaki's kind of figured out his role. I think he's found his role so far. Yeah, like you said, that one Milwaukee game, they took him out after getting a little shaky, walks a guy. I think he
yeah,
gives up a hit. And that could be the youthfulness in him. That could be him, and he's just a rookie. He didn't even play half the season with LA that year or this year. But I think I think they found a good role for him right now.
which is interesting because when he first started this season pitching for the Dodgers, of course, he was starting some. Do you think they're going to probably keep him in the bullpen for the World Series, and will they probably keep
Oh,
him in
for sure.
the bullpen
For
going
sure.
into next year?
Because going into the World Series, you look with the Dodgers, you look at their rotation. You're talking Blake Snell, Yamamoto. I don't know who pitches first between Glasnow or Tom. I'm assuming if they do the same thing in the NL or in the NLCS, you're looking at Blake Snell, who's pitching tomorrow, probably Yamamoto next, and then Glasnow third, and then Otani fourth. And if you was to have to use another, if one of those guys, let's just say out of those four, let's just say Glasnow, for example, only gives you 4 innings, I think
Yeah.
I think Sasaki in his role he's in right now is perfect. And I think in that situation, you've got that fifth guy in future Hall of Famer Clayton Kershaw.
Yeah. Which it's looking like this is going to be his final season.
And
Um,
and Sasaki's a guy that could give you he could probably give you 2 innings if you had to. Maybe you need him to close the 8th and the 9th. And if something happens, you just call up and you say, hey, Blake Trinan, get loose, man. And
if you're Dodgers,
Trinan hasn't been the Trinan of last year, but I
yeah.
mean, he's been there. He's done that.
I mean, if you got Roki Sasaki in pitching, let's say around the 7th or 8th inning, and let's say maybe the Blue Jays are down by like 1 or 2 runs, do you get a little bit nervous if you're Dave Parker or a Dodgers fan when you see Springer step up to the plate or Vladdy?
Oh, for sure.
How's he going to handle those guys? I wonder.
And Springer for one, because Springer's just so clutch, and then Vladdy is so freaking hot right now.
Yeah, he has
I mean,
turned it on this last half of the season and in the
coming
postseason.
off coming off an ALCS MVP. I mean, the ALDS, just the combination. I want to say just real quick, I'm pretty sure. Let's see here. I had it pulled up. This playoff series or this playoff so far, he's got 6 home runs. Six
Wow,
home runs. I want to say he's probably hovering well over a 400 batting average right now, and probably a 900ish OPS. I mean, the dude's hot right now. Has 19 hits. 19 hits in the playoffs so far.
that's
But
insane.
he's been hot for the Blue Jays. Ernie Clement has, he's had an awesome playoff so far. But just
Yeah,
back to just going back to the Dodgers though, and just with all that, I mean, it's not going to be as easy as the Dodgers had it in the NLCS. I don't think it's going to be. It's not going to be a walk in the park for the Dodgers. I'll just say that. Because with the Blue Jays coming off, which I know we'll talk about it here in a second, but with the Blue Jays coming off, their big 7-game series, it's not going to be easy for the Dodgers. So don't let you hear it all. You're going to hear it you probably already heard it earlier this week. You're going to hear it today. You're going to hear it tomorrow. Oh, it's the David and Goliath story.
yeah.
It's the team that has Otani versus the team that almost had Otani. Don't be fooled by thinking that this is going to be a David and Goliath matchup, because it's not. It is totally not.
I agree. I was driving earlier today in town. I was listening to MLB Network Sirius XM, and of course they were talking about trends and stuff like that. And somebody made the comment that whoever wins game one of the World Series has 76 or 78% of the time that team goes on to win the World Series.
Mhm.
But when you look at the ALCS, they were down what 0-2.
They were down 0-2. They started off. losing the first two games at home at
Yep.
Toronto, which Toronto is a tough place to play.
Yep.
I would love to go to a game in Toronto, but watching that on TV, Toronto, I mean, you got a whole country. That's a whole country that has their back right now. And you can
Their
tell
only MLB team now.
at the games, it's different, man. And I get it. LA is
Yeah.
a tough place to play too, but Toronto, man, that place gets loud.
It
But
gets hype.
but like you said, they started off 0-2, and we seen what happened.
Exactly. So I mean, you can't pay too much attention and certain trends or certain stories. The David and the Goliath thing. Um, because they're just that kind of comeback team. It seems like it doesn't matter like how far they're down or how many games they're down. They can
I mean,
come back and
look at game 7. Look at game
yeah,
7. They're down 3-1, and George Springer has been on that stage and has had that spotlight before. You can say
yep,
what you want about 2017, blah, okay, whatever. But dude got hit by 100-mile-an-hour fastball just 2 games or like what 2 days ago in the kneecap. And
yeah,
you know he's hurt. I don't care what anybody wants. Oh, the adrenaline blood. You get hit with 100-mile-an-hour. You get hit with an 80-mile-an-hour fastball or a 60-mile-an-hour fastball in your kneecap, and I'm taking off work the next day. But guy gets
maybe a couple of
drilled,
days after that.
maybe a couple of days, and you get drilled 100-mile-an-hour fastball in the kneecap. You know he's hurt, and you can see it in the game. Like he was challenged numerous times with fastballs, especially inside, because of his this guy's kneecaps hurt, so I'm gonna bust him inside. And
Right.
dude just stepped up, man, and wow,
Delivered. They got him this
delivered,
year,
dude.
right? Did they get him at the trade deadline?
No, they've had him all year.
They've had him all year? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember where they got him from. I wonder if they'll keep Bo Bichette, though.
Well, that's the question as far as whether or not Bo Bichette's even. Bo Bichette said the other day that he's ready for the World Series, like he's prepared to play, like he's healthy. And the big question now is with this team is, I don't know if you put him at shortstop because they have a great combo right now. Everything seems like it's clicking right now with the Blue Jays. Now, offensively, you've got he was the best hitter in the AL, arguably during the season.
Yeah.
I know last year wasn't so great. Figured it out. Figured it back out this year. And I mean, you've got to have him. You've got to have that bat in the lineup. I know if that means
Yep.
if that means putting George Springer in right field, and I get it, he's kind of banged up a little bit, and risking your defense. Do you do it? Me personally, I think you do, because I know we say the whole thing about David and Goliath and how it's not that, and I get that. Even though I still think the Dodgers are favored, but I don't think they're heavy favored. But in order for the Blue Jays to level this playing field out just a little bit, they have to punch back offensively. And I think
Yeah.
the best way to do you've got to have Bo Bichette. And I get it, he hasn't played in the playoffs, but still, man, Bo Bichette, you've got to figure out a spot to put him.
Oh, absolutely. Got to utilize his at bat. I mean, he can be clutch at moments too. Something else we'll kind of end with, maybe with the NLCS and ALCS stuff. Something that people are still buzzing about right now with the NLCS. Shohei Ohtani looked like he was just kind of
Oh
going
my
through a rut
gosh,
there the
dude.
first couple of games, and then comes out of it like in a literally historic way, like no human being has ever probably witnessed before since baseball started in the late 1800s.
Yeah.
It's crazy. He pitched 6.1 innings, 10 Ks, and 3 home runs, which one of them left the freaking ballpark.
It
I
did.
mean, at some point, like, when are we going to do like a DNA test on this guy to make sure like he's human, not an alien? Like, what is happening here? It's crazy,
Man, so we always are everybody's trying to compare sports, football, baseball, basketball, everything. Oh, basketball, you can have one player take over a game and win you a game. Football, your quarterback can take over a game, your running back can take over a game, and blah, blah, blah. Baseball, and this whole time we've always said baseball, and it is a team sport. But
Yep.
Saturday night was the first time ever that I've ever seen a player, a baseball player, take over and win an entire game like completely on their own. I mean, I get it, y'all. You had to have the 8 other players, but it
That's a
was the,
great way to put it.
you
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Like it was the
Yeah.
greatest. It was the greatest game ever played on a baseball field. And like you said, you know, had been quiet for. I mean, he had a homer. I think he hit a home run off of the. Was it in the? I want to say in the Phillies series. I want to say maybe in his first game against the Phillies, but then after that was kind of quiet, and just people were kind of questioning, you know, where's his bat at? And dude, and those 3 home runs he hit, all those pitches were they weren't just cookie cutter fastballs down the middle. Like they were
No,
all he inside that third one, that third home run, he inside outed that pitch.
that was
Like
insane.
was jammed and hit that thing to left center. And my gosh, dude, that's something. You know, you always hear the stories of, oh, Reggie Jackson hitting the 3 home runs. And I know there's been other Dodgers to hit 3 home runs in a game, but you always hear the Reggie Jackson stuff. You hear you hear the Kirk Gibson stories and all that kind of stuff. And all those moments. This was one of those moments, man, that, dude, we'll be talking about that for forever, man.
It's insane. I mean, just the things that he's doing in baseball since he's been in the MLB, and something that blows my mind that just came out a couple of days ago, just to show the Shohei Ohtani effect. Of course, he signed his deal last year, was his first year with the Dodgers, signed a deal for $700 million, 10 years. And source has already stated that the Dodgers made all of that money back within
Yeah.
the first year. And I remember talking about it this past off season, because there's been a lot of, the collective bargaining agreement is coming up. The CBA stuff's coming up at the end of this coming season. We'll see what happens at the end of that. And one thing that a lot of people throughout baseball has been talking about, especially this season, is should there be a salary cap, mainly because the Dodgers has what, ain't it like an $8 billion TV deal, right? It's like
It's
$8 billion.
something crazy. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's between $4 and $8 billion. But when you have a team like the Dodgers that has so many dang superstars on it, especially Shohei Ohtani, that team is going to be profitable no matter where they go. I don't care if they go to Chicago to play the White Sox or up in Colorado to play the Rockies. People's going to come out, tickets are going to be sold, concessions are going to be bought, merch is going to be bought, and it's going to bring revenue to all these other ballparks wherever they go and play at. And we've seen it this season with the Chicago Cubs. They went out and they did something that they desperately needed the past 2 or 3 seasons, was a superstar in the lineup. And we saw the first 2 months of baseball with the Cubs, how they just played different. They just walked different. I think as soon as Kyle Tucker at the beginning of the season came into the clubhouse, he just made everybody, I think, just kind of walk a little bit taller, and it translated on to the field. But my point is almost every home game was pretty much a sellout,
Yeah.
for the Cubs throughout this whole entire season. Just about didn't matter what day it was. So when you go to the Dodgers again, you've got so much talent like that. Basically, I think what I'm trying to say is I don't think there needs to be a salary cap. There needs to be a salary floor,
There
because
does.
as a Cubs fan, you may have saw this. As a Cubs fan, something that just really kind of grinds my gears a little bit is they are technically a big market team, but they want to spend like a middle market team, and they made, what was it,
Somewhere
$580
around there. Yeah.
million, I think, last season, but
Yeah.
they only spent $228 million in payroll.
Yeah. It makes you mad, man, because a lot of people want to look at the Dodgers and say, oh, well, the Dodgers are ruining baseball. The Dodgers are ruining baseball. It's like, no, they're not. They're really not.
No,
How many fan bases, like you're talking about right now, how many fan bases would love for their ownership to spend and spend? And I get it. Not every organization has money like the Dodgers. Not every organization has a place like Los Angeles. I get that. But every single team in baseball can spend more than what they are, and they can do more than what they are doing. I look at
Exactly.
the Pittsburgh Pirates and I look at Paul Skeens and I feel so bad for that guy because it's like if your ownership would just spend some more money and show that you're actually trying to win. You're trying to that helps build the culture of that. And that's the thing about the Dodgers is they didn't start off spending all this money. You can say what you want about Shohei Ohtani. You can say what you want about Mookie Betts. You can say what you want about Freddie Freeman. But here's the thing. They built a farm before they built a farm and started that culture, that LA culture way before that. And then a lot of times, hey, they took some of that farm and you know what they did? Instead of shoving their young guys in front of everyone's faces, they traded them for guys like Mookie Betts. And then guys like Freddie Freeman saw that and was like, hey, and he wanted like he had an opportunity to stay with Atlanta and was just like, I mean, I like what they're doing over there. So he went over there. And you can look at Ohtani and maybe he saw the same thing. I get it. LA's a big market, but I also saw what they were doing with that culture. So I agree, man. There does not need to be a salary cap. And what sucks is we're going to be talking about this at the end of 2026. That's going to be the only thing we're going to have to, we'll probably have to like live stream old games just to watch and talk about that stuff because I would be shocked if there was even a season in 2027. But I agree.
Right.
I feel like there should be a salary floor. And I'm being honest, like I said, yeah, you don't have not every team has money like the Dodgers, but if they would just show that it spend a little, if they could spend more than what they're doing right now, and they're not. Most of them aren't. And like you said, with
Yeah.
for Chicago example, they see the opportunity to make money, and either way, at the end of the day, they're gonna make a lot of money. So it's show if teams would show and do more. I think that would help with it would help with their culture for sure, but I think it would bring more players over there.
Exactly. And I posted a video, I think it was yesterday, on the Dugout Dispatch TikTok page. Make sure you check that out, all the socials and stuff. And I was talking to a guy in the comment section, and basically we were kind of talking about this stuff, about teams spending more money. And I replied back to his comment, and I was basically saying, like, yeah, I agree, teams should spend more money. If you spend more money, you're going to get more star players, quality players, which can do all these things that we're talking about: sell more tickets, sell more merchandise, and eventually potentially get your team to a World Series, which is the ultimate goal, right? And it kind of reminds me too of this movie I watched last night on Netflix. You may have seen it. I don't think I've asked you about it yet. It's the first time I've seen it. It was a movie on Netflix called The Saints of Second Chances. Have you seen that?
Is it about was it Oakland?
No, it's about the White Sox. The guy
That's what
Bill Veck. I think Veck is how you
I
say his
know
last.
what you're talking about, but I haven't seen it. No.
So basically, Bill and his son Mike are the two that we can thank right now in Major League Baseball for all the extracurricular stuff that goes on throughout the game, like mascots racing
Yeah.
each other, just all the different fun, engaging activities that goes on at a game. And I think a lot of these MLB owners should watch this movie too, because Bill really didn't even have the money to buy the White Sox. I think he bought the team in 1975. And for those of you that may have forgot about Bill Veck, he's the one that owned the team at the time in the late 90s. I think it was 79, where um, they had a special deal on a game one night. I can't remember who the White Sox were playing, but basically, if you brought in a disco record, you would get a ticket for 99 cents. So it brought in all of these anti-disco people to come in, and they end up like storming on the field and had,
Wow.
these crazy signs in the stands showing their dislike for disco, if you will. And it was a madhouse. It was crazy. The game didn't get to start. It was delayed. SWAT team had to come out and get under control, broke all kinds of news. And after that, I think who kind of orchestrated that was Bill's son Mike.
Mhm.
And after that whole ordeal, I think they pretty much sold the team after that. And then Mike, from my understanding, I think still to this day, he owns a bunch of different independent baseball teams and
Mhm.
still kind of do the same thing. But what was so fascinating to me that I took away from it is the hustle.
Yeah.
Even though Bill and his son Mike, they didn't have the funds when they bought the White Sox in the mid 70s, but they would come up with different ways. And, I know Mike even said in that movie, he sincerely apologized, for what went down. He wasn't trying to hurt a certain group of people like disco fans or what have you. It's crazy to think we're talking about disco in 2025. There's probably some disco fans still out there, but
Yeah, for sure.
those that are fans of the game and old enough to remember that, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It was a big ordeal, made national news, and they got, in all kinds of, I guess you could say trouble, but, got some backlash obviously from it that resulted, I think, into them having to sell the team. And then they got into independent baseball, or at least Mike did. And he's doing his thing now with that. But what was fascinating to me is the hustle, the
Mhm.
drive. If there's a will, there's a way, right? So just
Yeah.
because they didn't have, money like some of these big market teams, they were more than willing to think outside of the box and figure out cool ways to host like maybe different themes. um, for games. The disco thing was just like an innocent thing. If you bring in a disco record, you get a ticket for 99 cents, different things like
Yeah.
that. So basically, my point is I wish that more of these owners of MLB teams, wouldn't just sit around and complain because they don't have Dodger money. Like, figure it out, dude. You own a
Yeah.
professional sports team.
Sure.
It doesn't matter where it's located at. You can come up with different creative ways to sell more tickets and merchandise and get fans in there. And, as a fan of the sport and a specific team, we're both fan of the Cubs. It frustrates me, and I'm sure it probably does you too, when you think about how much money we spend at these ballparks. How much money I spend at Wrigley Field, and you spend at Wrigley Field every year, and how much money I spent, at Globe Life Field last year when I went and saw the Astros play against the Rangers, and Framer Valdez almost pitched a no hitter that game till Corey Seager messed it up. I almost watched history that night. It's freaking cool. And yeah, if you're a fan of these teams and you spend money every year on merch or going to games, you would like to see some of your money going towards some of these superstar players that we'd like to have on our
True.
team, you know?
Oh, for
So
sure. Yeah.
I think there's no reason why there should be a cap. I think we just got to come up with more creative ways to spend money, and you got to be willing just to take a chance and invest money, and it'll work out for you because I'm sure there's still a lot of disgruntled Boston Red Sox fans, over Mookie Betts going
Oh,
to the
yeah.
Dodgers, and some disgruntled Braves fans like you were talking about because they let go of Freddie, and
Yeah.
I think that's the lesson that we learn is that if you're a team and you're not willing to pay these guys, that's okay because the Dodgers, the Mets, and potential Yankees will,
Yeah. For
even
sure.
Phillies, you know. So we'll see what happens. Very excited about the World Series starting off tomorrow night, game one, October 24th, 7 p.m. And, since we're technically kind of in the off season, if you're not a fan of the Blue Jays or the Dodgers, you're pretty much in the off season like the rest of us. Now, of course, Vladdy is going to be playing in the World Series. And I'm sure he's feeling pretty good, not only because his team made it, but he also got a nice contract that he signed this season, I believe before the trade deadline.
Oh, yeah.
Uh,
Definitely.
$500 million. I think it's what, 10 years, right? 10 years, 500
It's
M's,
something like that. Yeah. It's
something
something
like that.
crazy.
But I remember as soon as Vladdy signed his contract, not only was the buzz going around in Cubs world, but throughout baseball, they suspected, well, Kyle Tucker will probably get something around that same amount too. And, you know, I just don't think that's going to happen. I think that, and he's like top right now. I was looking earlier of like the top 10, um, at bats defensive players that are on the list to hit the trade block this season. Of course, he's on there. Bo Bichette's on there. Kyle Schwarber's on there. A couple other guys. But I noticed Kyle Tucker was number one on that list when I saw it come out. I think it was today. And I just, again, a lot of people were speculating that he'd probably get the same kind of deal too. And I remember, some Cubs commentators and Cubs fans were thinking like, please, Mr. Ricketts, like just go ahead and offer him like 450 million right now for 10 years before the trade deadline. So looking back on that now, I'm kind of glad the Cubs didn't do that. And seeing that the season that he had this year, Tyler, and even the postseason, like where do you put his value at going into this offseason for any team?
I mean, so I think at the end of the day, somebody is probably going to overpay. But I
Yeah,
mean, you look at his season last year, and yeah, his first half was awesome, was great. Um, but then obviously, he dealt with a couple injuries, and then you had that stretch between the end of July and August that he was just basically a ghost.
yeah,
And you could say a lot of that could be because, in the back of his mind, he was probably thinking about the contract that he was playing for next season. But here's the thing about
sure.
next season now.
And he
You
had
go in,
a
yeah.
hamstring injury, right?
He had the hand injury, and then I know he jacked up his. I want to say he jacked up his thumb or one of his fingers or something like that. But
That's
the
what it
hand,
was.
I mean, the hand injury was just, you know,
He slid in a second or third or something like that, I
something
think.
like that, and so was dealing with that for most of the season, and I get that, but I want to say as far as that contract he was playing for next season probably had a lot to do with it. But I think a lot of people and a lot of owners are probably that they probably have that highlighted on their list of things when they're looking for when they're in negotiations with Tucker, because I get it. His past few seasons, yeah, he's had his 30 home runs, 100 RBI seasons, and he hovers around 20 to 30 stolen bases. But you also got to look at he's entering next season will be his age 29 season. And after
Yeah,
next season, you basically can say that 2027 is going to be a wash. That's going to be a wash year for everybody. So
exactly.
there's going to be a lot of people and a lot of owners that are going to, and a lot of GMs that are going to be hesitant on throwing $400 or $500 at Kyle Tucker when his health, which we've talked about earlier, his health is going to be a question. Is he going to be healthy for next year? And last season wasn't the first year that he dealt with injuries throughout the year. I want to say
The
the
year
year
prior,
before
I
that.
think, right? 2023?
I want to say 2023. He jacked up, I believe it was his shin or his calf or something like that, and he was out
Was
for
it
like half the season. And
was it
so when
last
he's
year? He had a hamstring injury. Is that what it was last year?
with the Cubs,
With the Astros,
with the Astros,
2024.
it was either a hamstring or a calf, or it was a leg injury that kept him
Yeah.
out for half the season. Now that second half when he played, he was great,
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
he just has so many. He's had 2 seasons now in prime time spots of his career that injury and health has been a question. And going back to Vladdy and his 500 million, I mean, you look at the Blue Jays. The Blue Jays was in a spot where they needed to keep a superstar. They had just missed out on Shohei Ohtani just the season before, and Vladdy's been consistent for his career with Toronto. I don't count 2020, but even in 2020, he played in, I believe it was 40 or was it all 60 games? I want to say he played in all 60 games in 2020. Yeah, played in all 60 games in 2020. And then since 2021 has played in at least 156 games every season. Does he have the stolen bases like Tucker? No. Does he play the defense as well as Kyle Tucker? No. But you're paying for that offense for the most part. And you're paying
Yeah.
for that guy that you can pencil in the lineup that he's our guy, he's our superstar, and he's been consistent. And I'm not saying offensively Tucker hasn't been consistent, but Vladimir Guerrero is 2 years younger than Kyle Tucker. You look at Kyle Tucker now, and like I said, he's entering his age 29 season. And then that next season's going to be a wash. So then you're looking at his age 31 season when you're still paying that guy. That's really when you start paying that, whatever his contract's going to be. And I don't know if that I don't know if he gets a four. I don't think he gets. I'm questionable to think that whether or not he gets $400 million. At the end of the day, I think at the end of the day, I do think a team does overpay for him, and that's going to be a question mark that they're going to have, and their fan base is whoever he signs with is going to be a question when he does sign with whatever team he signs with. But I just me as an owner, it would be tough for me to throw all that money at a guy like Kyle Tucker when he's healthy, he's good, but he has a lot of question marks, and that the age between the age that he's going to be in a couple of years and the the more than likely lockout that we're about to have, it's just if this was last season, if last season was not if 2024 was his free agent year, maybe it's a different story, but just it's really bad timing for Tucker, I feel like.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I can't see a team like the Cubs paying that much, especially when you got other needs, like
And
starting
real not
pitching.
and sorry not to interrupt. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but and even with I'm not saying like Tucker in that lineup with like this year with the Cubs, he made that lineup better. He will make your
Yep,
lineup better. I'll give him that. But
100%. And I've been thinking like the past couple of weeks, I just had some kind of weird feeling that we may see him with the Phillies next year. Of course, there's
Mhm.
already reports out right now that the Dodgers are interested.
The Dodgers are interested in everybody though, and that's
Exactly.
John Heyman.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it would make sense. One, obviously, because they got the money, and two, if he does get hurt, it's not the end of the world for them because they
He
do
can
have
he can
depth.
hide he can hide in that lineup.
Exactly, and potentially get another ring. I mean, the track that they're on right now. So, we'll see what happens. Another one that I'm very interested in as well is Tarek Skubal. There's some
Oh yeah.
reports that came out a couple of days ago that he
Oh
rejected the
man,
Tigers'
yeah.
offer because they're at like a
Awkward.
$250 million difference right now. That's insane. I got a video I'm posting
That's
about it tomorrow. Watch out for
yeah.
it on socials. But yeah, man, can you see some team, if not the Tigers, potentially making an offer for Skubal for like $300 to $400 million?
Oh, if I'm a team right now looking for a ace an ace in my rotation, yes, I'm picking up the phone and I'm calling Detroit and I'm saying, "Hey, which prospects do you want?" And then as
Yeah.
soon as that happens, I am working on a deal, and obviously it's got to be a fair deal for both parties because Scooble's going to be in that same boat. I want to say, what's he a free agent after next year?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which is going to be the worst possible time to be a free agent is at the end of 2026. And a guy like Tarek Skubal, who's in the prime right now, the prime of his career right now, probably going to win back-to-back in or AL Cy Youngs. And so if I'm a team right now, I'm one. I would empty. I'm giving up the farm for Tarek Skubal. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
If I need an ace, I'm Skubal. That's a win right there. That is a win. Nine times
Absolutely.
out of 10. And you could say, oh, well, the Guardian, or who was it that beat him? That he lost twice to or the Mariners. Didn't the Mariners beat him twice?
Yeah.
And I get it. That's the playoffs. Whatever. But Skubal, you don't get there without Tarek Skubal. You don't. And
No, they're there. He's pretty much a big reason, maybe the biggest reason why they made the playoffs. Last year
oh, for
and the year
sure.
before, I
Definitely
think.
is. And
Yeah.
and so if I'm a team right now, I'm picking up the phone saying, "Hey, who do you want? Who do you want?" And then once that deal's made, it's almost like I think we got to agree on like I almost feel like, "Hey, we'll make this trade," but it's one of those like trade and extend agreements or trade and sign agreements where we'll make this trade, but then you got to sign this extension. And if I mean, I get it. Scooble, he's probably going to miss out on some money that he could be that could be made. But because of the lockout, people are going to be scared to spend money on that 2027 season. That's not going to be played for the most part. But I
Yeah.
think you take that risk on a guy like Skubal because I mean you look at the history, you look at the baseball reference, and last two plus seasons, he's been number one. He's been number one.
All day. And as soon as I saw that, the first person that came to mind that I figured like he's already like checking his bank account, probably
Oh yeah.
seeing who he give up is Steve Cohen with the Mets.
And
But
the
with
Mets
Alvarez,
could use him.
Mets could definitely use him. But would they trade Alvarez? I mean, he's a good catcher. I think he's
I'm trading
24.
Alvarez. I'm trading Alvarez. I don't care. I'm trading Alvarez, and not to play Mets GM right now, but I'm trading Alvarez, and then maybe what I pick up the phone and call JT Realmuto, who's a free agent this year, and say, hey, buddy, you wanna play another year and catch for the best pitcher on the planet? Okay,
There
and
you go.
just piss off Philly fans. Here's your yeah. Not that
I
that's
love
gonna happen, but boy, that'd be nuts.
I love it because if he does go, if I had to pick between the two New York teams, I like to see him with the Mets instead of the Yankees
Oh yeah.
because it'd be like, oh man, come on.
Well, the
But
Mets, the way the Mets season ended, they're gonna do something this offseason, and that would be a big move this offseason. Coming off an
yeah,
offseason that you sign Juan Soto, how do you follow that up? Oh, you sign the best left-handed bat other than Otani in the world, and you follow it up with signing the best left-handed arm on the planet. I mean,
yeah.
be
I
nuts.
mean, if he stays or he goes, man, that's going to be an ace and maybe the biggest pickup if he does get traded during the off season. But we'll see. We got the collective bargaining agreement madness going on of next season, so we'll see what happens. Hopefully, we'll have baseball. So, all right. Getting into the next one, I wanted to ask you about who should win the AL and NLVP MVP because that's a hot topic right now too.
Well, I mean, I think we both can agree NL MVP easy. Shohei Ohtani. I mean, is
Yeah.
there any? I mean, for us, I feel like for a half second, Kyle Schwarber and Juan Soto were in that conversation, and those guys had great seasons. I mean, Juan Soto had his first 40-40 season of his career. Would have
Yeah.
never. Yeah, he finished with 40-40, right? Yeah. He finished with
Mhm.
40-40,
Yeah.
and it was probably the most quiet 40-40 season probably ever.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
that's just because of how great Otani was this season, and then coming off the second half, finally getting to pitch and everything like that. Yeah, and Schwarber had a great season too, 50 plus home runs. But I mean, Otani, as far as the NL MVP, easy, lock it down. AL MVP, however, I mean, is that your NL MVP as well?
Yeah. I mean, I was thinking that it could be a toss up, but it all would depend on if he pitched this year, and boy, did he.
Yeah,
Of course, I was very optimistic like the first 2 months of baseball that our boy PCA was going to get it.
yeah,
But I mean, it was looking good. A lot of promise there. Obviously, for next year, had an incredible season. This year's full season in the majors. But yeah, I mean, you just can't count the Dodgers out. Never, especially towards the last stretch of the season. But yeah, I mean, I can't think of anybody that's probably come close to taking it from him. He's just been dominating on the mound and at the plate. But Shohei Ohtani is my pick for the NL.
yeah.
The AL, that may be
It's
the most controversial one right now.
It is. I mean, who do I want to win AL MVP? Is Cal Raleigh. Who do
Yep.
I mean, because you look at that team, and I get it. They don't count. They don't take. I want to say the voting ends before the playoffs start, but I mean, you look at that team and that franchise and the fan base and all that, and just what they've accomplished this year. Uh, I mean, it's been amazing watching Cal Raleigh do what he does behind the plate, switch hitting. He's a platinum glove winner, by the way. People forget
Yeah.
that.
In
And
Seattle, by the way, which was the
it,
worst ballpark to hit in last season, Wrigley was number 2.
I mean, like you said, it's a tough place to hit all that stuff. And just you knock 60 home runs, 120 plus RBIs. I mean, dude, he's the guy that I want to win because 60 home runs, that's awesome. Who I think is going to win, I feel like will be Aaron Judge. I think you've got. I mean, and I get it. You look at Cal Raleigh, and you get like myself, and I can sit here and say, yeah, the 60 home runs and all that, and I love that. And again, I want him to win it. But you look at Aaron Judge, and I get it. I say he only had 53 home runs, but you look at that slash line, dude. 331, 457, 688 for a 1.144 OPS with
Yeah.
124 walks. a nine, his third highest WAR of his career, 9.7. I just feel like between the old heads that are gonna between the old heads that are gonna look at they're gonna look at that batting average and be like, bam, yep, he's the best. And I mean, he is one of the best hitters on the planet. But they see that, and then
Yeah.
you've got a lot of the nerd heads that are looking at the WAR and like, oh, but he's got a 9.7 WAR compared to, I believe Cal Raleigh's was like a 7 something. But I mean, that still just doesn't take into account everything Cal Raleigh does
Yeah.
besides just catching and I mean just everything he has to do day in day out. Not to take anything away from Aaron Judge, because Aaron Judge does a lot as well. I mean, obviously, but I really want Cal Raleigh to win. I just think it's
Yeah.
going to be Aaron Judge.
Right. And I feel the exact same. And I've got something here, and I'll have to stitch this to the video after it comes out. I'm going to read it off my phone.
Mhm.
Probably need to double check and make sure that this is true. I'm assuming it is. I got it on MLB Fox. They posted the final stats of 2025 for Cal and Aaron. So home runs. This is just during regular season. Cal had 60, of course, 65 total with the postseason, which he broke a record for. That's the most home runs by an American League player ever. I think the highest one up until this season was Aaron Judd, who had 64. But he finished with 60 home runs in the regular season. Aaron Judd had 53. Cal had 125 RBIs. Aaron Judge had 114. Cal's batting average is 247, and Aaron Judge finished with a 331 average. Cal's OPS 948. Judge's OPS 1.145. Cal had 110 R. Aaron had 137 R. Feels weird calling him Aaron. Cal had 14 stolen bases. Judge had 12. And Cal finished with a 9.1 WAR for the regular season. Judge finished with a 10.1 WAR. So, yeah, I mean, you're probably right. The old heads at B, if you will, they're probably going to give it to Judge. But again, my case, my point why Cal should get it is he's a catcher, which I think is a harder position, maybe the hardest position to play on defense.
Yeah.
Knock any defensive position because they're all really hard to play. And what do I know? I'm just a fan. I've never played, professional baseball or any professional sport. So, but he is a catcher. He's a switch hitter, and he broke a home run record for the American League most in the regular season and postseason. I hope he gets it. I guess we'll see. So stay tuned for that. We'll probably have to do like our reaction video in an episode when it does come out. But something else I wanted, we may get to one or two more things here. Um, Something else I wanted to add, why baseball, and I've noticed, I've been paying attention this past 2 or 3 years, why baseball is getting more attention in the public spotlight the past few years. So during the World Series last year, the Monday night game during the World Series last year had more viewers than Monday Night Football. And I thought that was like huge, with NFL being pretty much America's sport. But I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong, man. It seems like the past couple of years, like, I don't know if you want to say baseball's had like this rebirth or what's going on, but it seems like, you're getting more fans, there's more viewership going on. I'm seeing, I think, better turnouts at games across the league. Like, what do you think's going on in your opinion that baseball's kind of rising back up to the top a little bit?
I'll give it to MLB. They do a great job of marketing, they getting it out there, dude. I mean, last year, I know, you're talking about last year. It does help when you were talking about the World Series compared to Monday Night Football. It does help when your two biggest markets are playing each other in the World Series. That does help.
Absolutely. That's
But
great for
I mean,
baseball.
It is. It's great for baseball. And when you throw your guys like Otani out there, when you throw your best players out there, your most talented players out there, like an Otani and like an Aaron Judge and everybody else. I mean, it's gonna draw eyes, and I get it. I'm sure the Japanese market has a big say in all that too. But I mean, marketing, man, they've done a great job. And not just that, but like with the All-Star Fest, baseball, in my opinion, has the best All-Star events throughout, among, football, basketball, hockey, all that. They blow them out of the water. They do. And
Yeah.
between all that, I think it just all adds up together to showcase what they have right now. And the marketing, just getting it out there has been great so far.
How
And
great, man,
it
was
shows
the
that
All-Star.
oh, it's awesome. That's a and like this
This
last
this
one.
season was, like, one of the best ones we've had in a long time, and how
Oh,
cool
yeah.
was it to see Cal Raleigh's dad pitching to him? He had his brother
Yeah.
catching for him. He even called it when he was a
Oh,
kid. Of course, the video that went viral, him being a kid saying home run derby champ, and then pretty much put it into fruition, went out there and got it. I love
yeah.
that.
And I think between stuff like that, yeah, and then also at the same time too, you've got and I'm not trying to compare errors. I'm not trying to be, oh, this old back in my day, blah, blah, blah. But you've got a lot more athletes playing now than you did,
Yeah.
what, even 10 years ago. And they've done a good job of showcasing all that, just the talent among all players. Everybody's throwing 100 miles an hour. Everybody's, stealing 30, 40 bags. And you've got guys like Otani hitting 3 home runs in a game. And between all that and, you throw
Yeah.
in stat tests and all that kind of stuff. And this guy hit it 130 miles an hour, which I get it. Everybody's hitting
Mhm.
balls have been hit hard since baseball started, but
Oh, yeah, we got exit velocity now.
all that stuff adds up. You're like, holy crap, he hit it 110 miles an hour. Holy smoke, like wow, like stuff like that. You
Launch
throw all that
angle.
in. Yeah, all that, which launch angle. We used to just call it swinging for the fences, but
Yeah.
that stuff is just you throw all that stuff in and it just adds up to what it is right now. And it's been great.
Right, and as great as, all that all these modern stats that we've got now and sabermetrics and all that, it's great. But, you know, someone who, we're not that old, but, we grew up, you and I are the age where we grew up with the 90s
Yeah.
baseball and early 2000s baseball and stuff. So how cool was it to see the Blue Jays manager come out the other night to try to pull Max Scherzer out of the game, and Max
Oh
Scherzer
my
was like,
gosh,
"No,
dude.
wait a minute.
Which that's something, by the way, which we
Stats
what we
can't account for that," you
they
know?
can't, dude. I mean, you knew something like that. I was so glad to see that because I love
Yeah,
watching Max Scherzer pitch, and just to see freaking 40 years old, which by the way, he's going to be playing in the World Series with a fourth different team
that's
between the
amazing.
Tigers, Nationals. People forget he was on the Rangers and
Yeah.
now the Blue Jays. And dude, that was nuts. Which I love Toronto's coach, and so just seeing that, and I think he knew going out there that he's like, I'm not taking him out, but I think it was almost just like just lighting his fire up just a little bit, just throwing a little more
Yeah.
lighter fluid on that fire just to blow it up. But what's
He
cool
said
though,
post game, he said, "I was been waiting all year for that, for him to, like,
yeah,
yell at me and kinda get
man,
get
dude.
mad." I loved
So
his post game interview too from John Schneider.
mhm,
I'm summarizing. He was basically talking about, how you got all these stats and sabermetrics and stuff, but there's a
mhm.
human element to the game
There
and
is, and that it
being in
just
that moment and that guy, you're going
I'm
with a human
sure I'm
element.
sure the stats would have said to take him out right there and
Exactly.
throw in some guy that has a better matchup against the guy that was against, I believe that was a Rosarina he struck out.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there was some stat out there that said that, but and like we were talking about earlier with Statcast and velocity and launch, that stuff is cool to an extent, but you can't get too buried into that and you forget about that human part. You forget about that matchup type thing. And like that stuff right there with Scherzer, like you don't get that if you've got your nose stuck in the stats so much that, hey, we got to take this guy out and throw this guy in. But just with Scherzer real quick, the one thing with this World Series that I really would love to see, and I don't know if we'll get it, man, I would love to see Max Scherzer and Clayton Kershaw in the same game one more time.
That would be so
Because
amazing and so good for baseball.
and to be honest, because Kershaw's done said he's retiring.
Yeah.
I don't know if Max Scherzer's retiring or not. I mean, on one end, if he wins the World Series, that's like, yeah, I get it. Retire, go out on your shield, all that kind of stuff.
Right.
But if he
He
doesn't,
looks like he's got more in him, though.
I was going to say, if he doesn't, let's say they lose, but he pitches well. Who's to say a team doesn't try to pick him up? I don't know, but man, I love Mad Max, dude. Love him.
Yeah, and I think you've been seeing it more in recent year. Teams going out and signing these older veteran pitchers, for depth,
Yeah,
because they translate, and a lot
and
of
it's
those guys
worked.
have still got some juice left in the arm.
And it's worked, dude. I mean,
Yeah.
Verlander started the year off. He didn't have a win forever, but he wasn't pitching bad. Kershaw had a pretty good season. Kevin Gosman. I know he's not
Yeah.
old. He's not Max Scherzer, he's not 40, but Kevin Gosman these last few seasons, he'll be pitching in the World Series. And Chris Bassett, who only pitched in one, I think he pitched in one game in the playoffs before the other night, and he comes in like the eighth inning in almost just like in a relief role and pitched very well. So it's cool to see that stuff. I mean, I know we can say, oh,
Absolutely.
it's a young man's game and all that kind of stuff, but I mean, look at Aroldis Chapman. Aroldis Chapman's 37 and he's throwing 104 miles an hour still.
Yeah, I mean, some of these older players, man, I think they're figuring out, and I don't know, I may be crazy because I've just noticed, I mean, for those that don't know or don't know me, my whole life growing up, I was a New England Patriots fan, and I think Tom Brady put a lot of athletes in all sports onto just because you're getting older, doesn't mean there still ain't some tricks that you can do with your health help you have sustainability and play longer. Like Tom, he's like 47 right now, and he can run a 40-yard dash quicker than he can when he was like in his early 20s in the NFL Combine. Joe Flacco's still out there doing things in the NFL. LeBron James is still playing in the NBA. And, you got guys like Max Scherzer that's still going out there and just, setting dudes down.
It's
So
crazy, dude. It's
I
crazy.
love to see it. I didn't think about that. Him and Kershaw potentially maybe getting to pitch in the same game. That would be so amazing to see. So let's hope that happens. And Tyler, we'll wrap up with this, man. Who you picking for the World Series to win it all?
As much as I would like to see the Blue Jays, I'm going Dodgers in 6.
Going Dodgers, baby.
I'm going Dodgers in
La
6.
Doyers.
I just, man, between that offense, that juggernaut of an offense, and that rotation, and you're facing Blake Snell game 1, and not to say that Savage is bad, and hey, Savage hasn't faced the Dodgers. The Dodgers haven't seen him, so
Yeah,
who knows? Maybe it works out well in his favor, but man, the Dodgers just have so many weapons, dude. And when you got guys like
it's crazy.
Glass now coming out of the bullpen against the Phillies, I mean, when you got stuff like that going on, what can you do, dude? So I got Dodgers in 6.
I mean, they're obviously the favorite going into the World Series. Before I tell you mine, do you think it's going to go all 7 games?
I don't think so. I think it'll go 6. I think it
Think
will.
it'll go
And
6?
I will say one thing real quick. It'll be interesting to see. So the first 2 games are in Toronto. It's going to
Mhm.
be funny watching Ohtani take his at bats because that
Oh
stadium
yeah.
is going to boo the crap out of Ohtani. But in reverse, when Toronto heads to LA and George Springer, who people forget, quote unquote stole the World Series from the 2017 Dodgers, you
Yep.
can bet that guy's going to get booed out of the stadium as well. So that'll be funny to watch. But
Fans are going to show up and show out for both teams, baby. It's going to be great.
yeah.
I was going Dodgers up until that last game with the Blue Jays and the Mariners and seeing Vladdy cry and being so overwhelmed with emotion. And then I think that he said later in some kind of post interview that if the Blue Jays win, he wants to give his World Series ring to his dad. And I was like, oh, you
That's
went for my heartstrings, man. Come on, how can you not root for a guy like that? You know, so,
yeah, that would be cool. Which I want to say, did his dad was his dad on the O2 Angels team?
I think so. I'll
I
need to
want
go
to say
check
he
that.
was on
I
that
want to say
O2
you're right.
Angels team that came back, and which people forget about that World Series. That wow, they came back. I remember they came back and beat the Giants in that series. But
Yeah,
yeah, that's cool, man. I would love to see Vladimir Guerrero Jr. win a World Series for sure.
that would be cool, man.
I
And you
just
know,
and again, I think this playoff is going to launch him into a different in just a different stratosphere than what he is right now. I think this is like, he's growing up right now. He's maturing
yeah,
right now. And this is, man, I think this is. I think this is going to launch his career even more.
absolutely. I totally agree. It's going to be a great World Series. Dodgers are going back 2 years in a row playing the Toronto Blue Jays. It starts tomorrow, Friday, October 24th at 7 p.m. Game one is going to be kicking off. And hey, first episode, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. And yeah, we're going to try. We're going to try our best to see if we can get out maybe one episode a week and make some short form content for the socials. So make sure you follow us on all that good stuff. Go check out Tyler and the guys on Cubs on Tap, talking about our beloved Chicago Cubs. And follow us on X, socials, all that good things. We got personal pages on there outside of Dugout Dispatch, but hit us up. We love talking sports, and stay tuned because we're gonna do some fun things. I was thinking, I don't know, maybe do like some kind of cool giveaway when we get like around 1,000 subs. Tyler's dad owns a shop here in town, and I thought about maybe going by and buying like a hobby box, something like
Yeah,
that,
we may have
giveaway.
to give away a box or something. Yeah.
So that'd be cool. So we'll see what happens. But all right, we're out. Until next time, enjoy the World Series. We'll be bringing you some content in the middle of the World Series, and we'll see you guys on the next one.
Later.